Hi, Tracy. Welcome to the Girl Take No podcast. How are you?
I am doing so good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good episode. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are going to benefit from this episode in terms of like how to manage things better with their businesses, their virtual business at that. But before we kick things off, could you share a personal story that led you to question the traditional way of business and why you started?
Yes. So this isn't quite necessarily why I started, but it was
Okay.
such a shift that I had that it
Mhm.
actually changed how it changed forevermore. And I would say actually is part of the reason that I'm successful at this point.
Okay.
So do you know ClickFunnels
Yes,
and Russell
I
Brunson?
do.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
huge funnel software. And back in, I think, 2016, I became a ClickFunnels certified partner. I
Okay.
knew and I wanted to be a partner because I knew the power of the tool, but I didn't know why.
Okay.
Right. I needed to learn the why behind it. Right. Why do you use an opt-in funnel versus a sales funnel or versus
Mhm.
a free book offer versus a right, like all of those things. So I went to go learn it. And it was about 6 months of really intensive training and one of the best things that I did. But Russell Brunson was launching a book while I was going through the program, one of his new books, and he always does a free plus shipping offer. So he gives you the book for free, but you pay $6.95 for shipping to get the book sent to you.
Yeah.
And he was doing a contest with all of the other people that were in the program with us. And so the certified partner that gave away the most books, and it was a drum roll, right, of what they actually got. And, everybody's building up the hype to get this book out and get this book launched. And if you were the certified partner that got the most books given away out of anyone else, you got a custom Batman suit.
Mm.
Who wants a
Okay.
custom Batman suit? Right? Like, it was such a mind, like, what? Right? Like, if you told me that I could get like somebody to come in and clean my house like once a month for a year, I'm going to
Exactly.
win that
That's
contest.
enticing.
Right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I will do that. But like the custom Batman suit. And I think it was this realization of he's not talking to me. Right? He's talking to young men
Yeah.
for the most part who would think that a custom Batman suit was cool. So it was this shift that I had, like, I get it. That's marketing. I also get that I'm a woman, and a lot of I struggled for a really long time when I started my business and started the entrepreneurship journey because it just didn't feel comfortable to me. It didn't feel authentic. I felt like I was out of integrity if I was trying to do what they were telling us to do, right? 10x your sales in the next 30 days, right?
Yeah.
And it just, it didn't feel comfortable to me. And at that point, and it just made it so that I didn't sell anything, right? And I didn't because I'd go down that path because that's what the gurus were telling me to do. And it just didn't feel right. And so when I hit that point, I went, he's not talking to me. Okay. Right. Like he's talking to a different demographic. He's like, and so I realized from that point forward that I needed to adjust it because I am a woman. And so what is comfortable for a man or someone in that position to do may not be comfortable for me. It's not to say that the techniques and the strategies aren't beneficial, but I need to rework it so that when I'm going on a sales call, I don't feel like a used car salesman. I feel like someone who's just trying to help. And so if I can help you, excellent. And if not, that's okay too. Right. And so just kind of getting into that different mindset. So it was just a major shift for me in understanding the power of marketing as well as what I needed to do to move forward in my business and in my entrepreneurial journey.
I think that's important too, as entrepreneur, to understand the power of marketing, because everyone thinks through like ClickFunnels and stuff like that. And I know marketing is such a big piece of business and being able to understand how it flows and how it works and how to authentically, I guess, sell to your customer. And like you said, not feel like you're selling, but actually helping. I think that's probably like the struggle that a lot of entrepreneurs face, because their mindset is, we need to sell. I need to sell this product. I need to make money versus, okay, I need to help. You know what I mean? How do I strategically do that and turn that into sales?
Mhm. I find it a lot. So I work a lot with a lot of women, female
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, and I find that that is a struggle for many
Yeah.
of us. And so it's just shifting your mindset a little bit in and shifting kind of the way you think about it or the way you talk about it. But for me and in my business, it's all about helping people to get to the next step.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm looking to do. I'm not looking to, and yes, I love income. I love
Mhm.
sales. I love that, right? Don't we all?
Yeah, exactly.
And I wouldn't be comfortable with making $5 million tomorrow and have it be like from a place of I'm a fraud or I'm selling something that is inauthentic to me or I'm selling something that I feel like, I got one over on them. Like
Mhm.
I couldn't do it, right? I would rather just give the money back and not do anything. And so I think so many women are like that. And I
Yeah.
think that it's about really coming up with authentic, because if you think about it from a sales perspective or a marketing perspective, if you just authentically said, this is what I can offer to help,
Yeah.
and just put it out there in that way. And then the people that need that help are drawn to you. You don't need to sell to everybody in the universe. There are billions of people. Do you not think that 200 of the billions of people could use that help that you're offering?
Yeah.
Right.
Let
And
me ask you. Go ahead.
it just
Mhm.
makes it so much easier. But yeah.
It does, because I was just about to ask you something. When you have clients that come to you, um, is that their mindset, where I believe a lot of people do this too, where they feel like they can sell their product? Oh, my product is for everybody. And do you have to help them kind of hone in on, no, your product is actually for a very specific type of person or a group of people, and you have to identify who that person is and then sell to that person versus everybody is going to buy my product?
I think so. With me, I usually at this point help entrepreneurs that are a little farther on that have
Mm,
teams and have figured that out. I
hmm.
honestly think that we have all started at the point where we say we can help everybody.
Yeah.
And then we realize, right? Like we all start at that place. Well, this is for everybody. What do you mean? I don't
Yeah.
need to niche down. Like
Yeah.
this is good for everybody. And yes, it is. And I know that I have bought things. I'm a lifelong learner. So I'm always in a course. I'm always in a program. I'm always reading a book. And the ones that I choose to invest in are the
Hmm.
ones that I feel like they're talking to me
Yeah. Me too. That's true.
specifically. Right. And
Hmm.
so it's you're talking to someone just like you and I are having a conversation, right? Like
Hmm.
it's that same thing as having that conversation and connecting.
Yeah. That's exactly
Yeah.
what that is. Yeah. But yeah, so you work with people who have teams and larger teams are ready to move on to the next level, I guess, has
Hmm.
scaled up. Let me ask you this. In your book, you mentioned the words strategic flow. Can you kind
Hmm.
of share what that is and how does that differ from this like hustle culture that we're in?
We are so stuck in the hustle culture,
Yeah.
right? Like it's almost like
Hmm.
the more pain you go through and the more you struggle and the more
Yes.
you sacrifice and the more the more pain you're in, that must mean that you're worth the money coming in, right? Like I feel
Yeah.
like that's what happens. And I get into when I start working with clients, I get into so many businesses where they're just a hot mess on the back end. So
Yeah.
they've had some success, they've made some sales, they've got some clients, and they are absolutely miserable. They haven't
Hmm.
taken a vacation. They don't have time to breathe. They're waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning because, oh my gosh, I have all of these things to do. Their days are spent
Yes.
putting out fire drills and, fixing mistakes and, all of these things that they're miserable, not only in their business, but their life. Like it just bleeds over
Hmm.
into everything. I don't share that same mindset. So I say, let's take your business from a hot mess to a hell yes.
Yeah.
Right. And the
I
way
like
to
that
do
too.
that, you can do that without the hustle. You can
Hmm.
actually simplify and you can make it just, you don't just show up and you're in a flow state. You actually build that flow state into your business. And
Hmm.
there are simple and easy ways to do that and to simplify. But it's about just, you can imagine, right? Like, for example, just that hot mess business, it's like a closet that's just a disaster, right? And you're shoving
Oh
stuff
yeah.
in and you're slamming the door because you don't want it to fall back on you, and you don't want to open that door because it's all going to fall out on you. And you just keep the door closed and kind of walk by it, and you know it's back there, and you cringe when it's back there, right? And a lot of business owners are doing that, in that they know they've got unhealthy practices, but it's band-aided together and it's going, so we'll just keep doing that, right?
Yeah.
They're miserable, but we're just going to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in building flow and building alignment, you got to go through the crap. And so you've got to take everything out of that closet, and you've got to lay it all out, and you got to see what you've got. And the room is going to be a mess, right? Like, if you've ever cleaned out a closet, it is amazing what you can pack into a tiny little space that when you pull it out, it literally takes over the entire room that you're in, right? And that's what happens with these businesses, is that we look and we see what we've got. But then we start to put the shoes with the shoes, and we start to put the sweaters with the sweaters, and we start to group things together, and we start to get some organization. And then we start to look at what's actually working in our business, and what are we just doing because we've been doing it forever. And, the gurus say to do it. I'm miserable doing it.
Yeah.
But they say to, so I've just kept doing it. Let's just take that away, and let's simplify and do the things that are working. So we'll take that pair of shoes that we haven't worn for 10 years, and we're going to put them over there, and we're just going to focus on what's working and what's in front of us and what we actually enjoy doing. Because let's be honest, if you don't like doing it, why are you doing it? Right? And if it's something that needs to be done, let's find someone who loves doing that. I guarantee you, something you hate doing, there is someone else who loves doing that. Let's go find them. Let's partner with them. Let's bring them onto our team, and let's figure that out, right? And so then we put it all back in the closet, but we put it back in the closet, and we put it in nice and neat, and we make it flow, and we make it simple. So we're building the flow state. We're building alignment into our business. So we don't need to hustle. And that doesn't mean that we're not doing work, but we're taking inspired action instead of that painful, struggling, let's make ourselves miserable action, in the process.
Yeah. I feel like, and you're so right, that's the mindset that solopreneurs have, is that I have to do it all. Because even me, that's my mindset now. It's like, I have to do it all, and I'm doing it all. And it is a hassle. And we come with that. And then we feel like if we're not doing it, then if we're not busy like every minute, every second of the day doing something towards the business, then we feel like we're not progressing. So how do you shift from that mindset, because you've been a solopreneur for so long? And I do know, in order to scale, you have to have a team. Every entrepreneur that has been on the show talk about scaling and bringing on a team in order to do so. And I know that a lot of solo entrepreneurs are so afraid to let go of those things to give to someone else. A lot of them have struggled with delegation, right? A lot of them don't know how to do that piece. So how do you get them to shift their mindset around, you're still achieving your goals, you just don't have to do it by yourself?
Yeah, it's a great question. And again, so it is a mindset shift, because we're taught to do it all ourselves. We're not taught, right? But the thing is as women, like, we're community based, right? We're community centric. So the more coming in, I feel like the more inspired, the more happy, the more excited that we are to continue on. So the advice that I give to solopreneurs is, number one, kind of twofold on this. So it's get started with a team member. It could be that you, and make it the simplest thing possible. Right? So make it the simplest thing that you can think of. And I am a control freak. I manage teams. I've managed teams for the last 25 years on projects big and small, right? I like things the way I like them. And so I built that into my systems and into the delegation and how I do that. But a way to let go a little bit is to actually find someone to just do one thing. But when you find the person to do that one thing, and there are easy ways to teach them how to do it exactly how you want to do it, and then check and make sure that they're doing it and that they're on track. It could be something that like literally $5 a week, right? Like you're just going to bring somebody in for $5 a week just to send out this email message as a marketing tool every week, right? But what I want you to do with that is maybe that $5 a week saves you, let's say 5 minutes, right? Like just make it easy. So 5 minutes. With that 5 minutes, you now choose to do a higher level task within your business. So you are delegating the lower level admin tasks to start, and you're replacing that freed up time with tasks and actions that are actually going to move the needle in your business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's doing an Instagram live and offering your new program. Maybe that's taking a minute to actually outline your new program. Maybe that's literally taking a minute to just go back and like breathe and meditate and just take a minute for yourself, like, or your family, right? Like maybe there's maybe it's that, right? Whatever that higher level task is at that point in time, commit to leveling yourself up over and over and over again. And you can start with 5 minutes. And what you're going to realize is you've now higher leveled your time, which means you're going to then bring in more revenue, bring in more clients. You're going to start to up level, and then you're going to say, okay, so now 5 minutes, I'm going to go up to 10. And then you take that now 10 minutes that you have free and you up level that, and you use that for a higher level task, and you just keep going. And that's where the snowball happens. And you just, in doing that with my clients, you just kind of scale naturally, right? Because you're just replacing with higher level tasks, which means you're getting higher level results.
Yeah. And you're right. As women, we do carry a lot, and we feel like we have to do a lot, because when it comes to being wives, mothers, household entrepreneurs, we do carry a lot, and so to be able to relieve some of that off of us is definitely beneficial to us. So when most clients come to you that have teams, do you notice that they come in, like you say, they're a hot mess because they don't have any systems in place? And it's like you have these teams, have people who are doing certain things, but still it doesn't seem to be producing what you want it to, because you don't have real systems in place that really help your work just flow.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things when they first come in, there's a couple of things that are happening. Number one, they don't have a system in place. My work management tool is Monday.com. I have no affiliation whatsoever. But I've been doing this for 25 years, but it is literally the only tool that I found that the teams like to use. And so they actually use it. Usually it's always been me managing it and then going and telling them what to do. Right.
Yeah.
This is Monday for me and the teams that I manage. They just like being in there. And so they'll update in there, and we just get automations and flow, and we're able to build out systems that actually work and actually create that alignment that we're looking for. I also find when I first get into business, so number one, they don't have they're just flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah.
And for the most part, they've got such good team members on their team that just take it and say, okay, I'll go run with it. Also, a lot of times the business owner, the entrepreneur, is a visionary.
Yeah.
And they are not necessarily amazing with the details. And so, and I say control freaks. It's their business. They have an extreme responsibility to keep everything moving, right? And it's all in their heads.
Yeah.
So they become a bottleneck. And because they're visionaries, they've always got new ideas. So they start the team on one thing and the team gets going. And then they're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I just met this person. I think that we should do collaboration. Okay. Go. And then they're like, okay, do I stop? Do I start? Right. And so it's like all of those things. So I think it's a combination of the owner, the visionary, the entrepreneur needs to, focus a little bit more, right? And it's not that you can't do all of the ideas. Maybe you just can't do all of the ideas today.
Yes.
right? So it's like, let's just make a list. Let's see what our priority is. And if this really is an amazing opportunity, then we're going to stop this. We're going to pause it. We're going to pull this in, and then we're going to go. Right. But a lot of times that's not happening. And so it's just this chaotic, everybody's scrambling and everybody's running around and nobody can quite, they're trying to do what the owner wants, right? They're really trying, but it's too much and it's too crazy for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that a lot too. Where, like you said, they're visionaries. And so everything, one, is in their minds, and being able to relay it to other people and delegate it out. Or either you're right, just something spark comes and now they're just like, oh, I want to do this instead. So let's push this to the side, where people been working on something for a while. I've dealt with this as an employee working for entrepreneurs myself. And you're just like, oh my God, I just spent 3 days on this project and now we're going to scrap it and move on to the next thing. So I understand that.
And that
completely.
that just slows everything down.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe this new program is going to be amazing, but it just slows down because now everybody's got to stop what they're doing. It's kind of like that train, right? Like it takes them, the train's going and now you've put the brakes on, but it takes a while for the train to actually stop. And so then the train stops, but then you got to get the other train started, and the other train actually takes a lot to get moving also, right? So during that time you're stalling. And if you're doing that on a regular basis, then you're never getting where you want to go.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true. Let's talk about bro marketing, because you mentioned bro marketing and your approach and the misery and the stress that comes with the bro marketing. How did you identify, one, that bro marketing need to be, I guess, different? Marketing needs to be different, that is, for women entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I think it was that my epiphany, I think, was that first example that I told you with Russell Brunson in the Batman suit, right? Like I was just laughing to myself because he said a custom Batman suit. And I just thought, what would I do with a custom Batman suit? Like at that point I have 4 little boys. So at that point, I think I had, 2 or 3 boys, and it was just, that's like a hazard in my house. Like there's no, who wants that? And so I think, and so it just started me on this journey of actually paying a little bit, I don't know if more attention is the right word, but different attention. So it's not that, in all honesty, we as women don't have a lot of quote gurus, or as many gurus to follow. And so we kind of have to learn from men, and men see things and talk differently than we do, right? Like we're much more community. Like I don't, and this is nothing against men, right? Like I literally have 4 boys. My husband, I live with men all day, every day.
Yeah, but you do. House full.
Right. And I know that I think differently than they do. I talk differently than they do. Like I communicate differently than they do. And it's just, I started to pay attention, and I realized that after learning, and learning mostly from men, because those are, the ones that are out there, learning and just realizing that I needed to adjust what they're saying. And it's not that the strategies aren't working for me, but I needed to adjust it so that it was comfortable for me to put myself out there. Yeah. Right. And so, just even this podcast, for example, right? Like many women have a really hard time going out on social media, being in front of a camera, because they feel like they're going to be judged. They feel like, right. And we've dealt with a lot of this our whole lives, and just the attack that can happen. And it's a safety thing of like putting ourselves out there and exposing ourselves to potential harm or haters, or right, like it's a safety thing. And so it is, I feel like men are much more comfortable being out there and just go on Instagram Live and tell them what, and it's like literally I have tried to do, so I'm a super introvert, and I have tried to do like lives or Instagram. I'm shaking. I'm right. Like I can talk to you, right? I can have a conversation 100%. Right. get me in front of a camera, I forget what I'm saying. I can't. I'm so uncomfortable. I'm hot. I'm sweating. I'm like, it just is uncomfortable for me, right?
Yeah,
And
I
so,
know that feeling 100%.
right? And so it's like, and I think it's like that for women. So it's not just go out and do this. It's,
Yeah.
and so I have done the lives and the everything else, but I need to talk to myself differently, and I need to shift my mindset a little bit. And it's about, for me, it's about, I need to connect with people, and I'd like to share what I'm doing. And if it's a good option for them, I'd like to help them, and I'd like them to come in and have a conversation with me. And so that to me feels a little bit more gentler, right? Like the bro marketing is like, just do it, just get out there, 10x your sales in the next 30 days, go, go, go.
Yes.
And I'm like, don't sleep, you don't need to sleep, like just get it done, right? Like that's what we deal with. And I'm like, I'm a mom of 4. Like I get done with work and I'm, going to basketball, and I'm, like, and I enjoy that, and I want to do that. And so I want to have a life. I want to be with my family. I want to be a mom. I want to be a friend. I want to be all of those things. And I want a successful business.
Yes.
And so for me, it's the and lifestyle. So I am going to choose to do it my way, and I'm going to choose to do it differently. And I'm going to choose to get the sleep that my body needs. And I'm going to choose, right? Like I'm going to choose all of those things, and I'm not going to sacrifice for that. And that's where alignment comes in. Cause it's not, for me, the business alignment method it's really about doing it smarter, doing it in a gentler way, like doing business, like it doesn't have to be brutal. Business doesn't have to be brutal. It's hard sometimes. And I think it's harder because we don't have a lot of support. Right? Like we're doing it on our own a lot. But there is a gentler way to do life and business, I think. And we don't have to push so hard. We don't have to punish ourselves to get where we're going. And so that's where that comes from.
Yeah. I like that. And it's true, just to be able to have that kind of that time to yourself and be able to know that you're still progressing, but you still have that time to yourself. And I do know a lot of friends too I have a lot of friends who are afraid to go online, or just afraid to even do reels, right? Because everyone is telling you, hey, short form video is where it's at. And they're just like, I'm so afraid to go on camera and say anything, or just sit there and do whatever I can, because you're right. We're so afraid of what people are going to say, what we look like, judge our body, so many different things that we feel like we get exposed to versus what men get exposed to. Men come out here just confident, it seemed like, right? But
and
women,
the crazy thing is, we totally do. And the crazy thing is we get to, like, kind of as entrepreneurs that go into other people's businesses, right? Like we get to see kind of that view of, and we've been through it and we get to watch it. But a lot of times, I run across clients and entrepreneurs who they have so much experience and so much knowledge and so much to share and so much that they can help other people. And yet they sit there and go, I can't even go on social media because what would I talk about? Like, I don't have anything to talk about. There's nothing that I have to share that anybody, like, they've already said all those things. Like, it's not going to be right. And we talk ourselves out of and kind of downplay ourselves. Like,
we do. We downplay ourselves. We don't big ourselves up for our achievements that we've accomplished throughout our years of career and business. Yeah.
And I just come across, as we all have a spark within us, right? Every single one of us. And we are unique in that, like, my experiences of life growing up, I bet you are completely different than your experiences growing up. And even if we had the same exact experiences, our interpretation of those experiences is completely different, right? And so our take on, you and I could talk about I just saw a bird fly over my window, right? Like, we could talk about birds, and my view on what I think about birds and your view on what you think about birds could be completely different. They will be completely different. and unique,
Definitely.
right? And literally every single person on this planet would have a different and unique perspective based off of their experience, their history, their beliefs, their patterns, all of those things. And so we are all 100%, we have that spark in us. And the more that I've gained my success, it took off the second that I accepted myself just as me. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to take that spark. I'm going to own it. I'm a book nerd. I would rather be in a corner reading a book than going to a party and socializing with people. I would rather have a one-on-one or a small group conversation that goes really deep versus a high level, right? Like all of these things about me that just make up me, and I'm just going to own it. And the second that I did, that's when all of these people started coming to me and say, hey, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Because it was like a puzzle piece. Right. Where me owning my authenticity and trying not to be like everybody else and do what they said to do and how they said to do it. And that's where that bro marketing, right? Like I was trying to do that and it didn't feel like me. So I'm like, I'm done. Right. Like I'm done doing it their way. And the second that I did it my way, that's when all of the business came in. That's when all the clients came in. That's when all the freedom and and loving what I do, right? Because I could be me, and like what I do to me is extremely simple, right? It's almost like they pay me to do this. This is kind of crazy, right? But it's because it's a skill set that they don't have. Right. And so that's why it's valuable to them. So I just get to be me and I get to help them. And it just is, then it makes it fun and easy. And that's how you get into that flow and that alignment.
That's where I think that's where every entrepreneur wants to be, in that place where it's just fun and easy, where it's not scary and you're truly your authentic self online.
Well,
being
I
who
think
you
it's
are.
always kind of scary because so we entrepreneurs, we don't just settle. Right. So the second we get to that one place that we thought we were going to, we're just going to the next one.
Next place.
Right. And that's scary because we've never been there. We don't know. But like we're just built differently. Right. So we just keep pushing. So I don't think it's necessarily that we ever get out of scared, but we get more confident with the unknown.
Yes, we get more confident. Maybe. I like that. That's a better way to use it. We get more confident. So the term, of course, hard work pays off. What do you feel about that term? Do you feel that it can do more damage than good? Because we all know, like everybody says, oh, hard work pays off. So you work hard, and you stay in that work hard mode where you're grinding every day. What do you feel like that phrase does for especially women entrepreneurs?
Well, so it's a really good question. I think how we've traditionally used hard work is like you just literally need to punish yourself as hard as possible to do it. I think that is ridiculous, for lack of a better word, right? Like it's just like, who wants to live like that? Like just stop, right? But I also think mindset is probably 99% of what needs to shift in order to get you to that next level. And I actually do believe that is probably the hardest thing that we have to do.
I agree.
A lot of women entrepreneurs, I think that they work hard and they like at a punishable pace, right? Like to where they're not sleeping and to where they're missing activities, or that they're just working their butts off. And I think it's a lot of, from what I hear from my clients, it's because they need to be worthy of the success when it comes, because they don't feel worthy. And so they're getting right. The hard work is getting them worthy to receive. And the thing is, you already are worthy. Like you're already there. And so how about we go about it a different way, and clearing that mindset? That's the hard part, right? Clearing those beliefs, clearing those patterns. It's estimated that we have the same beliefs, or I'm sorry, the same thoughts every single day. Like we have about 80,000 thoughts that go through our head every single day. about 80% of those are the same as what they were yesterday.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the same as what they were the day before and the day before. So we get into these thought habits or these thought rhythms or patterns of how we need to hustle. We need to keep going. We just need to do a little bit more. We just need to do,
Yeah.
before we can arrive and before we can be there and before we can be worthy and before we can have the success. And it's clearing that out. And, like my words, I guess, for this year at the beginning of the year is just fun and easy.
Oh,
I want to
I like
grow.
that.
I want to go to the next level and I want to make it fun and easy. So I'm shifting my mindset into more of it's just fun and easy. So if I'm looking at what I want to do or what I want to create over the next quarter, I'm going to look and say, what sounds fun and easy that will also grow my business?
I like
Let's
that.
do that.
Yes. Let's do that. I like that. What's fun and easy that can help me also grow my business? And I think you said something that was really key. It sparked something in me when you said worthy. And then I think about my own journey and my own ups and downs of entrepreneurship because, I took my leap like in August of last year to leap into entrepreneurship. And so it's been a journey, right? And it's been grind, hustle, 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 get up every day. You get up at 5 a.m. in the morning and you work, you do your routine, but you work hard, you take the kids to school, you come back, you work. And I believe that what you just said in terms of like worthiness, like, do I believe I'm doing this and so I can feel worthy of it? You know what I mean? To get to that place. And I think that's, oh my gosh, like it sparked something in me to say, I think that's what you've been doing, Shawnee. You've been working so hard and going so hard because you're trying to feel worthy of it.
Yeah.
When you already are.
Yeah, you're already there.
That's
and it's not even
amazing.
about like, I think the crazy thing is, right, it's not even about our worthiness.
Yeah.
It's actually about helping people.
It's about helping people. That's what it's about. And to shift that mindset. And you're so right. Like mindset is it's one of the hardest things to work on. It's one of the hardest things to shift when it takes daily practice. Yes. And I know that myself because I myself been working on my mindset in terms of like, I mean, you just said so much that I'm just like taking so many notes, right? That's why it's called Girl Take Note. And shifting our mindset because everything in our business does have to do with our mindset. Whether we succeed or fail is really based on us and our own mindset and how we feel about ourselves and our business. And shifting from that, I got to make sales, I got to get this and that, to more so of in the mindset of I'm helping people. I want to help people with this podcast. I want other women to be inspired to know that they can do this too. They can have that dream business and turn it into reality, which is why I interview women like you who are inspire other women to know that it's possible.
So what if you were to, and this is for all of us, right? Like, what if you were to just accept you as you right now? Like your gifts, like what are your gifts? And when I say your gifts, like what is easy for you to do? Like what is, for me, you could tell me, I want to go from here to whatever your goal is. And I'm like, okay, we've got a million ways to get there. How would you like to do that? Right. And I can plot that out. I used to, when I worked for corporate America, I would lead a team of 50 people. It would be a multi-million-dollar project. It would be a 3-year, we've got 3 years to figure it out. On day one, I could get the timeline together and figure out exactly in 3 years the date that we're going to launch. And we hit it every time.
Wow.
Right? That's easy for me to do.
That's
right?
Skill.
That's how my brain works. Right? Like it's just how my brain works. Like it is an easy thing, which means it's a gift that I have, that my brain just works in process and works in kind of those steps. Right? You ask me to go like network at an event, and I'm like, I have no idea what I would actually say to anyone like other than hi and how's the weather, right? Which are like two of like my, like, I hate. I want to go deep, right? I don't want to do the
surface talking,
high level surface thing, right?
Yeah.
And so it's so funny to me, right? But it's just not a gift. And I just marvel at like a lot of my clients. Again, they're the visionaries. They're the influencers. They're the ones that want to be, they're happiest, right? When they're mingling and they're talking and connecting and making all of those just amazing connections with other people. And it's not a gift that I have. It's something that I can work on and something that I can cultivate. And I am getting better at it every single time. But
Yeah.
it is not, it's a learned behavior for me versus a gift that I innately have that I enjoy using on a regular basis. So what if you were to just say, these are my gifts. I'm going to own it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to find the people that I'm their puzzle piece. And I'm going to be okay with that. And I'm going to celebrate that even, right? Like I'm going to celebrate that these are my gifts and this is what I have to offer and this is how I can help. And then someone who does not have those gifts comes into your world and that's how you're helping them. Like, what if we could all do that? Instead of feeling like we're always less than, or we're always the fraud syndrome and that we're always all of those, right? Like,
yes.
Right? Like we always feel like we're not a good enough mom. We're not a good enough wife. We're not a good enough partner. We're not a good enough, salesperson. We're not a good enough marketer. We, all of these things that we're just not enough. What if we just let it all go and realize that we're like, literally, I truly believe that every person on this planet is just doing the best they can.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So like, can't we just like, let that be? Right. And not that we don't want to improve and not that we don't want to do different things and new things and better things and that we can't take some old habits and some old patterns that we've got and shift those so that the way forward is lighter for us.
Mm-hmm.
But couldn't we all just like let it go and just stop judging ourselves most of all? Right? As well as each other. But most of all, I feel like we're so harsh on ourselves and just let that go and just realize we're doing the best we can. If we see areas of improvement, no judgment, we'll go do it. Right?
Yeah.
And just do that. But let's do that.
Let's do that. God. Okay. I'm like, this is episode for me, for sure. Because that is exactly, and I think I'm one of those entrepreneurs too, where I feel like, because I'm still in the solo part. I don't have a team yet. Like I have a VA assistant that I have do certain things, but I'm still in that space of like, now that I heard you say, oh, I know how to map it out for 3 years. And I'm like, okay, how do I figure out how I get there? Where I want to be, where I see myself going with this podcast, right? What steps? I don't even think I even thought about, okay, what steps do I need to take to get there? What can I start doing?
Tell me about it.
Today?
Let's do an exercise, right? So where do you want to go with your podcast?
So for me, I really want to see my podcast on like an iHeartRadio, right? That's like goals for me to be one of those big podcasters on those types of stations. But I never really figure out, okay, so how do I map out that path? Because I've done radio before. I've done Sirius Satellite Radio before, years ago, before they merged with XM. So this has always been my passion. I always come back to this because I love doing it. I love sitting down, talking to people. I love hearing their stories. I just love it, especially women, because I feel like we connect with each other through our stories. Yeah. And I was like, I could see this on such a larger level, but it's true in terms of like, I'm so caught up in the day-to-day and in the weeds of everything that I can't even do the big vision of, okay, how do you truly map out to get to where you see yourself, where you want yourself to be?
So what I would recommend for that is I would do let's say, iHeartRadio's at the top of your piece of paper, right? 25 ideas. 25 ideas. Yes. Right? Of just different, like, just kind of go there. You'll probably get to like maybe 8 to 10 easily. And then you're going to have to work for the rest. Right? And you're going to have to sit there and think like, what else? What else? Yeah. And some could be completely out there. Some could be crazy. Some could be, right? Like maybe not quite, but get to 25. And what happens when you get towards the end is you start to get, I don't know if it's digging into your subconscious what it is, but you start to really hit gold. And then look at that list and say, what can I do? Yeah. Like, and with the fun and easy perspective. With the fun and easy perspective. What if, like, and kind of the what if, right? What if it were fun and easy Would any of these qualify to actually get me where I want to go? If not, you need to scrap that entire list and make a new one.
Okay.
Right? So how would it be fun and easy for you to get there? And, think of yourself being there and not being there like you just got there, but being there like you've literally been doing it for a few months now, and it's now part of your regular routine. And you feel that success, you feel that confidence, you got this, you own it, you're there, right? You've now lived it, and it is part of your world, right?
Yeah.
Imagine yourself there and say, okay, what are the steps that I can, and not steps, what are the ideas that I have to get me to that place, right?
Yeah.
Pick one, just one. Pick one and incorporate it into your day in baby steps. So it could be that you do one email outreach every day.
Yeah.
Without fail. And that is your commitment. Because what happens, the crazy thing is, I can plan out these big, huge projects and, these and corporate, right? Like you've got 3 years.
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur, if you've got 2 weeks, it's a long project,
Yes.
right? Like it's right.
Yes.
And so I can plan all of these things out and get them launched and get them moving. And, I do quarterly and yearly planning with my clients as well, right? So we're mapping out what that looks like and, how to do that ongoing. The crazy thing is, for the most part, if you just start and do little steps as you go, there comes a point where there's like a tipping point, and all of a sudden it's like you're walking up a mountain with those baby steps, and then all of a sudden it just goes whoosh, and it all just and then you're like fly by the seat of your pants, but it's that fun, energized, inspired, all of those things coming to you because all of a sudden you've been tiptoeing and you've been kind of doing it, and that's like literally that's really all you need to do is if you send that one email every single day and consistently do that consistency is the key, right? So just keep doing those baby steps. And then what'll happen is you'll hit that tipping point. You'll go down the mountain, it'll whoosh and it'll all come at you. And then you're just trying to keep up, right? Because it's all coming at you so fast, and the change and the momentum and it's that snowball, right? Like it's rolling down that hill, and now it's gaining speed. And now there's nothing that is going to stop that thing until it's ready to stop, right? Because it's just the momentum is going, and there's no way to slow it down at that point. But you just got to small steps.
Yeah. I got to do that because, like I said, I've been so caught up in the weeds where I haven't even big picture it like that to say, hey, what steps do I need to take to get there? And so what ideas and that's the key. I got to remember that's the key. Fun and easy.
Yeah. If it sounds miserable, you're never going to do the baby steps that are needed.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're never, and who wants to anyways? Like
I do.
Right. And I find, and that's the thing is, I find so many of my clients that a lot of times we actually have to change their business model when they come to me because they've followed the gurus and they got the success. Like what the guru said is what they got, but they got there and it's like they didn't. And my brain goes, right, like this is easy for me where I go and look and I'm like, I don't want to live like that. Right. But they go and they get there and they're kind of living the life that they're doing the business that the guru said, but they're literally working 20 hours a day and they're miserable and it's like we have to literally change the business model and get them out of what they've built because it's not serving them. It's not fun. It's not, they're making themselves sick and tired and
yes, of course,
miserable.
Yeah. And that's what I think I felt like it's been such work. And I felt like it's been work because it has to be. You know what I mean? Although I enjoy it, I really do. I'm like, this is one of the things that I truly feel like is just for me. It's not for the husband, it's not for the kids. It's just for me,
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I think about everything that I need to do, I'm like, God, it's so much work versus feeling like, change my mindset about the fun and easy piece of it, making things fun and easy versus robotic for me.
Right. And could you simplify?
And could I simplify? Yeah.
Could you? Because right now, if you're doing a ton of different things, right? If you're doing over there and over there and over there and over there, and you got to get that and you got to get that and you got to get that, right? Like you are splitting your energy all over the place, which means you're going to move slower.
Yeah.
Day to day. What if, and not to say that you stop or completely, cancel it or ditch it or whatever. What if you were just to pause things that were not fun and easy at the moment, and you actually just simplified? And what are let's be honest, you need some marketing.
Yeah.
People need to know you exist, right? You need a way to bring them into your world. Let's say it's an opt-in or a call or a website, something to bring them in. Then you need a product.
Yeah.
And a way to sell them. Maybe it's a sales call, maybe it's a funnel, maybe it's a link, whatever. And then you need to deliver to those people.
Yeah.
What if it's just a simple thing, right? Like what if you were just to do one of those things and get those so strong? So all of your energy, all of your focus was into making that one marketing effort kick ass.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you were to focus on, okay, so now I've got the marketing, it's going great. I'm bringing people in, but I bet you I could get my conversion rate better on this opt-in. I'm going to try a couple of different opt-ins to see like which one really nails it. Okay, I now have a 50% opt-in rate. Like, holy smokes, right? And so you can go, but if you're focusing on simplifying and just putting all of your energy, all of your power, and let's be honest, like it's strong, right? Like, and I know that we all have this, but I can just tell with you, right? Like you just have the drive, the focus, like this is going to happen.
Yes.
Period. Right? Like there's a period at the end of that sentence, right?
Very big period.
And so, right? And so like your iHeart, like what if that were incorporated in those? Right? Like, and in just that, and just simplify. And as you get that, I call it the critical path, right? Like as you get that critical path at optimal, then you're going to have revenue to hire your team.
Yeah.
You're going to have revenue to increase your marketing, which means you can add on, right? Like you've got this now. So let's add on another marketing piece. And now you've got the profits to be able to go into that marketing piece. And then you start another stream coming in.
Yes.
Right. But what if we were just to focus, because the power, the energetic power, the mental focus, everything that you have is there, and just simplify it. And in simplifying, you strengthen.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to do that. I'm going to simplify it. I'm going to make it fun. I'm going to make it easy. And I'm going to focus on that one thing and get that really good when it comes to the marketing, like you said, and then be able to figure out a way, okay, how do I get them to opt in on certain things, which I have like free offers and stuff like that. I think what I need to truly work on for me is a paid offer to truly find out what would be valuable to those who listen to the podcast, who watch on YouTube. I really need to figure out, I think that's the piece I truly need to figure out that I've been struggling with, that I've been playing with some offers where I'm like, I don't really know if that's it, but I need to sit down. So then
with that, I would recommend like have people get on a call with you.
Yeah.
Right. So the more, and I know it's like when I first started doing my offers and my client offers are like, I don't have time for this, right? Adding calls in is crazy. You don't have to do it forever.
Yeah.
Right. But like, if you get the same question from 10 different people, you know that you now need to create an offer or create a program or create an opt-in or whatever, like answering that question.
Yeah.
To help people. Right. It's a faster way to get where you're going.
To get going.
Right. Versus guessing and thinking, I don't know, maybe this is it.
Yeah, because that's exactly where I'm at. I'm just in a place of like guessing. Like I know I get certain DMs, but a lot of it is really around podcasting. To be honest with you, a lot of it is around podcasting. I'm like, okay. I mean, I get a lot of people asking me about podcasting. Hey, I want to start a podcast. You got any ideas, tips, or advice, or whatever? And at first I was like, maybe I can start doing something around that. But I'm like, is that really what I want to do though? Because a lot of my listeners are not people who want to do podcasting, right? So I'm like, I want to make sure it's valuable to those who are actually listening, those who've actually downloaded the podcast, who listen every week, who watch every week. I want to make sure it's actually valuable to them. But I do get a lot of DMs around that. I really do. And I'm just like, okay, I'll figure that piece out.
And it's interesting that they say that. And so that needs to be a component. Maybe it's not the whole component, right? Maybe it's looking at your gifts, the things that are easy for you, and then adding in the podcast component.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
That. Like,
I could do that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be all of it, but it can be a part of it. Absolutely. Especially if that's what people are finding you for.
Yeah. A lot of people are finding me for that. I know we have got off all track. Oh,
we totally did.
I want to get to some questions before we have to close it out. I want to talk about, okay, so in your experience, what are the misconceptions people feel like they have when it comes to that hustle mentality? What is the misconceptions about it? Is that the only way to get to where you want to be? Like, what are some of the myths around that you kind of can debunk for people?
Well, I think, in our culture, like, we celebrate the hustle.
Yeah, we do.
Right? Like, we celebrate the hustle. And I think that, when we were younger, when our parents were younger, when our grandparents were younger, right? Like, the hustle was just about, put in an honest day's work. Right? Like, that's it. Now that we've got social media, like, the world has changed with the internet and social media. And it's like, now I feel like the hustle is like literally be on 24/7. And if you are like, and if you sit and if you rest and if you like, then you're lazy and you're a slacker and like, you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that we have this cultural thing of you need to be on 24/7. I was reading an article a few months ago about silent quitting in corporate.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's, and I'm going like, well, what's silent quitting? Like, I want to hear this, right? Like, what's going on? And basically it was corporate employees who didn't want to answer their phone or their emails after like 5 o'clock, and that they didn't want to work weekends anymore. And that they thought that was silent quitting because they were refusing to do that. And I'm like, they just want a life. Like, they don't want to be working 24/7. I see no issues whatsoever with doing this.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, we're so into the hustle and we think that that's the way to go, but it's shifted and we need breaks and we need to enjoy our lives and I think too, when you've got nothing like happening and nothing to do, that's when the inspiration hits. Yeah. And that's when, like, as entrepreneurs, like, if we're constantly hustle, and we've got all of these things to do every day, we don't think of the new program that we could offer. We don't think about, like, we don't have the ideas that pop up naturally in our heads. Like, it is our duty, like, in all honesty, I totally believe this. It is our duty as entrepreneurs who are creating new things and bringing new things into the world. It is our duty to rest our bodies, rest our minds, and give ourselves the chance to actually allow the ideas to come in, allow for creation. And it is, if we are the bringers of new ideas, the bringers of new things, then it is our job to do that. Yeah. And it's our responsibility to do that.
It is. You're so right. Yeah. And it is that 24, you're so right. Social media does tell us that we need to be on at all times. We need to post at all times. Everybody need to know everything about what's going on in your life, your business. They need to see behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. And it's a lot of pressure to put on us. And that's one of the reasons why we feel like, okay, I have to consistently produce content. I have to think of ideas that's going to spark people attention, engage, because that's the culture we live in. Social media has really put us in that place. But I also think that what you said is important in terms of, like, maybe just honing in on one thing and working that one thing and getting really well at it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you have to, because like all the gurus say you have to be on there every day, 24 hours, you got to post your stories 12 times a day. And I'm like, who has that kind of time? I don't even know anybody that has that kind of time, to be honest with you.
Who has the time and who wants to have the
Who
time?
wants
Like
to have the time? Nobody,
nobody, right? And the gurus like forget that they like forget to mention that they're giving this advice, but they literally have like a marketing department that is doing this for them, right? So
exactly.
They forget to mention that part.
They do.
Right? As they're telling us to be on 24/7, you know?
They do. They really forget to mention that part. This has been a really great show, Tracy. It really has. And I know they're going to get, my listeners, and myself included, so much value out of this. Tell us about your program before we end the show to let people know more about the program and how they can get involved in the program.
Yeah. So I have the business alignment method, and it's literally a guided implementation to bringing alignment and building the flow state. Into your business. So it's all about setting up the work management system. It's working with you to create the processes, to actually automate the processes, learning how to delegate, what to delegate, when to delegate, all of those things that you need. And it's guided implementation, meaning we're with you in creating that for you. And then once you get that in alignment and flow, then we start working on the quarterly planning with you. And so we're doing quarterly and yearly planning with you so that you can start to scale naturally as you go. So if you're interested in, I've got a few things that you can look at. You can go to my website. It's goldie.com. And on there, I have a business alignment assessment. So you can actually see kind of where you are on the scale of hot mess to hell yes. And you know, what's in there, you know, for you, and where maybe there's some, you know, places for improvement, as well as if you have questions or, you know, there's something that I said or something that I can help with, go ahead and all over the place. There's places to schedule a call, click a button, schedule a call. Let's get on the phone. Again, I'm here to help.
Yes.
Right. And so if I can do that, I am absolutely happy to do that.
Yes, this has been really good. And of course, we have all that info down in the show notes and also in the description on YouTube to make sure everybody have an easy way to get in contact with you and schedule calls, because I think this is something we all need. We all need help. And I think that's one of the things that I'm coming into more of a mindset of that. Okay, Shauna, you don't have to do it all. You need help. You can actually sit with other people and talk and hear, because you don't know everything. And I think that's key then for us to understand that we don't know everything. And there are people out there who are a lot more smarter than us in certain areas and that are just better at certain things that we kind of lack in. So I think it's important to seek out those people, and even for myself to make sure that I schedule my own call with you guys and talk and stuff, and just to have some clarity on what I'm doing. Although I don't have the big team yet, but I can still get some clarity.
We all can, right? And like I remember seeing a social media post. It reminded me when you were talking, a social media post a few weeks back that said someone had posted and said, I want to start a girl gang where we all aggressively support each other.
Yes.
And I was like, that, right? Like, let's do that. Like, that's what I want to do that, you know, like just, so I'm here, I'm like aggressively supporting you and working with you to create.
Yes. It's going to be good. Well, thank you again, Tracy, for coming on the show. I really appreciate you being on here and sharing all your knowledge and wisdom with us. And guys, I am Shawnee Sanders. This is the Girl Techno Podcast, and we will talk to you next time.